is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
There he is, the man giving us the edge every week. Yes, sir. Delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste. Only 78 calories. Order it. myedgedrink.com. And, of course, use my code Big O, and you will get 10% off. So get shipping, 10% off in your order. Get it, baby. How you feeling, man? You feeling good?
Feeling good. This is probably the most relaxed I've ever felt post-draft. The most rested I've ever felt post-draft, man. Want to say thank you to the Dolphins for only 4 picks. Made life a little bit easier. Even if they tried to get a little spicy there at the end with the quarterback. You know, it's kind of funny how that worked out. We got Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel. Basically what they did is they sent the pick in and then went right downstairs to speak with us in the interview room so that after the draft, they can start making out calls to UDFAs. And so they're on their way to the room when we find out that it's going to be Skylar Thompson. They pick a quarterback. And, like, it's one of those moments, man. I love the draft because, like, generally everybody is sitting together. Everybody's in the same kind of room. And so you're just experiencing breaking news and certain moments together. There's a lot of camaraderie involved in it. But, you know, we can get to Skylar Thompson in a minute. Bottom line is, long story short, I'm feeling great, man. I feel like I actually got to rest this weekend. I haven't got to do that in about 3-4 years.
Yeah, speak for yourself. I had to do 20 hours of broadcasting. So we actually –
Oh, man, you're in Vegas? That's a shame, man. That's sounds like a tough life, man. Like, you hate to hear that. It happens to the best people.
Well, it starts now in Vegas for me. Really, the last 3 days, I wasn't doing anything. Trust me. When you got to talk that much, you can't go F around, bro. You can't.
Honestly, I couldn't imagine, man. Like, I say maybe I have like 5-6 conversations a day and I'm spent, man. Like, that's and then I got to tap into my overdrive. So I couldn't imagine, man. That takes a real pro.
Yeah, well, I don't know about a real pro, but maybe a maniac or something like that. But yeah, I know maybe the relaxing starts now for me. Now that I can only do one show and it's, you know, regular 3 hours, and after that I've got the rest of the day. I'm used to that. I'm normal. That's in my wheelhouse. You know what I'm saying? But 20 hours in 3 days, it's a hell of a lot of talking, dude. So yeah, it's one of those deals. All right, so what'd you think? Oh, I mean, I'm not going to ask you to grade something that's only a couple picks in the first ones in the damn third round. But I guess it's, in a way, I kind of feel very successful because I really love the Tyndall pick. And so they really needed if there was one position that there was like a sore spot, was the middle linebacker spot, and they filled it. Yeah,
and I said this on Saturday. I really did like the Tyndall pick. It felt like anytime you can find the perfect intersection between need and BPA, you're in for a quality pick, and I think that is what Channing Tyndall provided there at 102. A lot of speed. You know, of course, I've been saying a long time, you got to go chase around Josh Allen for the next 10 years. You need to be adding as much speed as possible. Throwing him in the middle of the field allows you to keep Jalen Phillips, as more of an edge rusher. Same with Egvon and Van Ginkel. Allows you to keep Jerome Baker on the outside, which is what I believe Miami prefers. It just overall, it raises the athleticism, the level of athleticism you have with your defense, makes you more multiple, gives you a little bit more versatility in what you can do with your linebackers. Love the Tyndall pick. The more I thought about the rest of the picks, though, I mean, you only have 4, and it's not like you're going to find potential starters with all 4 picks, right? I mean, you got 125, you got 224, and you got 247. Historically, that's not where you're finding, impact players in the draft. So, but the more I think about the Eric Ezukanma pick, I could be proven wrong. He could end up being a great receiver and a great 4th option in the passing game, 5th option in the passing game. Let's be honest here. I mean, like, he's not going to overtake Hill. He's not going to overtake Waddle. He's not going to overtake Gesicki. I would argue he's not going to overtake Wilson in the pecking order. And then I would put the 2 running backs, as in terms of where you're getting targets or where your targets are going, I would put the 2 running backs ahead of him as well. So it is kind of it feels like a luxury pick there. But with Tom from Wake Forest still on the board at 125, I feel like they could have addressed another need in their interior offensive line. They could have got a guy with center and guard flexibility there, and really tapped into even what Greer called was the best overall position group in the 2022 draft class. So I'm not willing to say it was a wasted pick, but I do think they could have done better with that pick. I think they could have gone another direction, and I would feel maybe more comfortable with it in that spot. And then,
now they may think the Ty Clary kid is just as good. So they said, well, we'll just wait till after the draft and we'll get that kid.
And
maybe.
Maybe.
And again, 6th, 7th rounders and undrafted free agents are the same. There's really no difference.
That's why I'm not really like. I think Cameron Good. If you found yourself a rotational pass rusher in the 6th round or the 7th round, then round of applause to you. That I'm not going to criticize that. The Skylar Thompson pick was, again, a little weird on the surface, but in all reality, it's a 7th round. Like, who cares?
It's not like I'm with you. I'm with you. I thought it was weird, right? And then I thought about it. Well, Bridgewater's only here for a year. So maybe they stash him on the practice squad. They develop him. And if they like anything about him, then if they can't bring Bridgewater back next year, he becomes the backup. So I kind of understand the method behind the madness. Plus, he's a little bit of an athlete. So you might be able to do some wildcat crap with him outside of, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it, but people do it in this damn league, and so I don't know if that's what
he is not going to make that 53-man roster, and y'all can throw it in my face if he does at the end of August. Bridgewater is a lock. You're not keeping three. You're not keeping 3 quarterbacks. So I think he does. I think he gets cut, and they bring him back in as a as a practice squad quarterback. So I wouldn't expect him to get much wildcat action in this year. But Marty Herney, the former GM for the Panthers, I believe he's the current GM in Washington, once told me, like, you always get quarterbacks whenever you can, because one of a few things is going to happen. Either they're so good that they end up starting for you at a lower cost than your current starter does. They're good, not better than your starter, but they're good enough to trade and get value back for. Or you spend a mid to late round pick on a guy and he doesn't work out, and you keep pushing and get another one the next year. So, like, there's no true lose scenario when you draft a quarterback, like an auxiliary quarterback. You draft a QB when you already have a starter in place. So I'm not that mad at it. Reading certain draft grades and recaps from around the NFL or from around the country, I've seen it being called a wasted pick. I don't think it's as much of a wasted pick as the Azukama pick might end up being if he can't crack the rotation and their depth at offensive line ends up biting them in the ass. But it was just like you shrug your shoulders, oh, wow. And then you actually think about it for 5 seconds and realize it's really not that big a deal. You get a quarterback in the 7th round, whatever, man. He might make some couple plays in the summer. He's not going to make the roster. Respectfully, he's not going to make the roster. Maybe you groom him along as a practice squad QB. And like you said, maybe he develops so much that he takes over as a backup in 2023.
By the way, do you know what Marty Herney's background is?
Let me know.
Media.
Actually, I did know that. He worked for the Washington Times, the other paper in Washington, not the Post, the conservative one, Washington Times. I did know that, actually.
One of us crossed over and became a general manager in the NFL.
Man, what a life, right? I don't know. I play a lot of Madden. I tend to win a few Super Bowls. Maybe I can make that leap. Maybe I can talk to Chris.
Some people don't know that about Marty, that he's actually a media guy. He wasn't a football guy or, per se, football background, and he climbed the ladder to that position. He got to that position at a completely, unorthodox way. As for the Azukan kid, I'm gonna go with this. They see it's what I've been telling everybody that keeps getting into this whole Deebo Samuel bullshit. They're not getting Deebo Samuel. It's unrealistic. They're not going to add that salary, and they don't need Deebo Samuel because they've already added Deebo Samuel in 6 different people. And Azukama is another dimension of Deebo Samuel. And that's what I see in this kid, that if they can add another dimension, a big physical guy coming out of the backfield and running into linebackers and all of that, which is what he kind of does because he's got a big body. So that's what I'm seeing. This is what McDaniel's doing. He says, I'm not going to have one guy play the Deebo Samuel role. I'm just going to use Waddle in this role today, and then Cedric in this down, and then I'm going to use Mostert doing his, and that's how it's going to be. All these guys, Alec Ingold is going to do some of the things that Deebo Samuel did. That's how he's going to attack people.
Speaking of Deebo Samuel, I do still think that there's something deeper involved than the report that he just doesn't want to play the receiver running back hybrid role. But I mean, you want to trade for Deebo Samuel only for him to not do the role that made him Deebo Samuel? I don't know. I think it's a little bit of fool's gold. Like, God bless whoever trades for him. I don't like the injury history dating all the way back to South Carolina. I don't like
anybody playing that position for a long time, my brother. There's no way I'm giving you money to play that position. That's crazy.
And I don't like
running backs.
I don't like paying 20+ million. I don't like playing 20+ million to two guys at the same position. You know what I mean? Like, that is that's asking a lot. That's just, I don't think it's an appropriate use of funds. So the dream is dead. And you have to give a Waddle. Like, there's no way that the Niners say, yeah, here, take Deebo for what? 2 first-round picks and not get Jalen Waddle back? You're going to lose out on a guy that Dolphins fans have been ecstatic about for 2 years. So just let's kill that. It's done. It's canceled. Like, enough of that. But no, as you call, he might be, and like, you can't have too many receivers. I think that is a problem that maybe plagued the Chiefs these past couple of years as they've tried to win another Super Bowl. Is they're not adding enough talent at receiver, and so when one guy goes down, if Kelsey is hurt or unproductive, if Tyreek Hill is hurt or unproductive, then you saw them that core struggle a little bit, and you really saw how thin it was this offseason before they drafted Sky Moore. They trade away Tyreek Hill, and all of a sudden it's who? Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster now with the little Mecole Hardman.
Come on. Mecole Hardman's going to carry the entire offense. What's wrong with
Mecole Hardman just runs a 4.2 and was wide open every time he touched the field. Like, I'm not banking on him as a high-value
Hall of
receiver.
Famer? No, not a Hall of Famer?
I liked him coming out of Georgia, but no, so I don't think you have too many receivers, just like you can't have too many edge rushers. So, like, in theory, like, yeah, it is cool. It's cool that they added another receiver and they're adding more depth to this position group and all of that. And, 4th round pick, like, it'd be a disaster if he doesn't make the roster. I expect him to make the 53. But I don't see.
And by the way, you got to look at special teams.
Well, that's what I was about to get to. I think
if Eazy-E is a flyer or some kind of a returner, then you know that Eazy-E is staying here. And plus, by the way, he's got one of the best nicknames on the damn team now. Eazy-E. I mean, come on, bro.
That's what I was getting to, man, is that, special teams is going to be his fastest way to the field. And it sounds like they're making that clear. Greer's made that clear. McDaniel made that clear. So, I don't think I don't hate the pick. I don't dislike the pick. I'm just saying that I would maybe like it a little bit more if they went with, was that Cameron Tom out of Wake Forest, and they addressed a need right around the time. I mean, he only went like 15, 20 picks later. So you address a need with a guy who's kind of slated to go in that rough position. So it's not like you're reaching. But either way, it's hard to criticize too much before you even see these kids take the field. They got rookie camp, I want to say May 17th or 13th is when it starts. We'll get a lot better idea of what these guys can do.
And by the way, for Mike Jamorzek that I see on the chat board, he says, Ezukama within 2 years, Devontae Parker. Sir, they let go of Devontae Parker because he doesn't fit what they do. If Ezukama becomes Devontae Parker, he will not be on this team.
Yeah,
that's not what they. That's
I don't think they want him to be
what they need.
Parker.
They don't. They're not. You don't understand. They've changed the scheme, sir. So what they want in Ezukama is what he does. The 10 rushes for 138 yards, the 13 yards a rush. That's what they like. They like a big dude that can run and break some tackles. out in the open field. And he'll catch the ball, catch a bubble screen, catch a crossing route. That's what he's going to be doing. He's going to be doing things that Debo did, and that's how he's going to feel. But it's what also Marcel was saying. He has to also make an impact on special teams. If not, he won't find his way on the field because the roster spot will not be enough for him to be a part Debo. In order for him to be a part of the Debo slice, he has to be a kick-ass special teamer. So look for him to either be a flyer or some kind of a returner, but he must be an impactful player. Plus, by the way, if you notice in his highlights also, Marcel, he likes to block. And that's one of the things that they like in their running game is a guy that can block. So it gives them a little help there in the second dimension.
Yeah, I'm just kind of I'm reading a comment here that Alzugaray is basically Jakeem Grant. No, he's not. He hasn't returned kicks.
No, he's not Jakeem Grant either. He's not Devontae Parker, and he's not Jakeem Grant. Wow, God bless.
Yeah, he has not returned kicks since high school. I checked. I did the research. He's not a returner. Maybe they turn him into one. Who knows? But
maybe
that's not his current role. I think
flyer,
think more of a gunner, like Mac Hollins replacement. I'd see more Mac Hollins play. But no, what I like is that everybody on this offense is basically a threat with the ball in their hands, and that wasn't the case over the past 2 years. I think that anybody, and when they line up, anybody is a threat to jet sweep and get the ball out of the backfield. Anybody is a threat to take a screen pass 20, 30 yards. Anybody is a threat to do some damage with the rock in their hands. And it's a track meet right now on offense. And Alzugaray is not a burner per se. I think 4.5 speed, which at 6'2" is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not calling him slow.
Yeah, no,
he's not.
Size, he moves good.
Yeah, he's not Tyreek Hill. He's not 4.2, 4.3 speed, but like 4.5, that's fast enough to get behind a flat-footed defensive back. So I think he's good enough. He's hard to take down. I think that, he's got a shot at developing into a short yardage receiver this season. Big body, uses his frame to box out, can go make tight contested catches. I don't particularly like that archetype. Like, I don't like calling guys, contested catch receivers, 50-50 guy. Like, that's a little bit archaic. It's a little archaic because separation matters more.
But it's a skill. No, but it's a skill that you can catch in traffic. That is a skill that a lot of guys don't have, Marcel, because they don't have the toughness to stay in the middle of that traffic and still hang on to the ball. So the guys that do have those vice grips for hands in traffic, those guys.
There's a difference. There's a difference between it being a skill and being the skill. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference between for Devontae Parker, that is his skill. Like, his skill is contested catches.
You're right.
I don't like that. If you can make contested catches, like Hill can make contested catches. I think I saw Jalen Waddle last year go up over the top of somebody. If you can, awesome. That's a great complementary skill.
You want it to be a trait.
It's a trait, not a identity. Let's go like that. It should be a trait, not your identity. So, a lot of people wanted that big body receiver, that red zone threat. That is done. Like, that's mid 2000s football. We're in the 2020s now, baby. You separate, you get open. That's what matters first. You make some magic happen after the catch. That's what matters first. And then if you can go over the top of somebody's head, gravy on top. It's a cherry on top. But the Sunday is going to survive without the cherry.
For that, you use your tight end to have that trait, is what you say. Is, in other words, you want your receivers to get separation, but you want your tight end to have the trait of getting a little separation and to be able to go up in the air to go get the ball. But your receivers, in general, you want them to be worried more about getting some separation, which is something, by the way, that Miami had pretty much none of outside of Waddle last year.
I mean, literally not. Outside of Waddle for the past 2 years, Miami receivers are dead last in the NFL in average yards of separation at the time of the catch. It is a massive problem. And like, you're my witness. These good people in the comments are my witnesses. Like, I've been saying it for 2 months that this coaching staff came in here and they saw playmakers in skill position or playmakers at receiver as big of a problem, if not more, than the offensive line, which is why we've seen a completely revamped room over the past couple of months. Sometimes You just got to weather the storm, let people call you crazy, and the truth will come out in the end. But it's a completely different receiver room than we've seen in years past. We'll see if it works. We'll see how they operate and mesh on the field. But on paper, I mean, it's night and day from what we saw in 2020 and 2021. So, yeah, that's I learned that, back with Cam Newton, because you remember the whole idea with building receivers around him was, let's go get Devin Funchess, let's go get Kelvin Benjamin, let's go get these long, wide catch radius. But it don't matter if he can't get open. Kelvin Benjamin can't get open.
Well, by the way, part of why they got the guys with range also is because he is inaccurate. So they needed guys that could.
Well, not necessarily the case.
Have a little more wingspan.
Not the case. Look at the 2018 season. Their main receivers were, I want to say, Torrey Smith, were DJ Moore, and then of course Christian McCaffrey. These guys aren't wide, big body receivers. They're just 5'9", 5'10" guys who get open fast. And he was on pace for the best season of his career in terms of efficiency until his shoulder just completely gave out. I watched it. I seen it with my own eyes. So he was a different quarterback. And that's what let me know catch radius doesn't matter anymore. It's all about separation.
Hey, listen, everybody, let's say the sun shines on every dog's ass every once in a while, and you get in a groove and you play out of your mind. 1 year Michael Vick had like a 62% completion percentage when he was always in the 50s or something like that. But Andy Reid got him 1 year and got him up to like 62, which was like an amazing feat. So everybody has their moments, but he was never an accurate. Cam Newton was never known as an accurate passer. Okay?
No, he's not like a pinpoint passer, but he's not.
By the way, to bring it full circle, that wasn't a trait of his. Okay.
We're not gonna, I'm not gonna call Cam a pinpoint passer, but he's not so inaccurate that you need guys with 8-foot wingspans, or else.
I'm not telling you he's Mike Glennon, but I'm just saying,
But yeah, I mean, and that's to localize it a little bit here. Excuse me, Tua is an accurate passer, especially the intermediate part of the field, and that's why I keep saying I think that this is going to work. I don't know if I'm not on your side when you're saying he's going to be a top 10 quarterback this year. By the way, Tua was either number 1 or number 2 on deep balls, also not just intermediate. He also threw the fewest amount of those deep balls last year in the NFL.
Well, he's he's on his ass and they can't block and can't run. I'm not blaming him for that. Okay, I mean, come on.
I'm not, but I'm just saying, context matters here. He can throw the deep ball a little bit, but let's see how it works.
Receivers with no separation. You can't have them both there, Marcel.
Let's see how it works over a longer period of time with a wider sample size. But like I said, I think this is going to work. It's not like you're just going to be sending Waddle and Hill downfield and Alzugaray downfield. They're not running 4 verts all game long. It's still going to be more or less the same passing scheme that we saw last year, which was heavy in the intermediate part of the field. I just, ideally, they won't have to run so much RPO in order to freeze those linebackers and kind of manufacture passing lanes. Ideally, teams will have to respect the run. Teams can't just bull rush this.
What you're trying to say is that ideally, play design will actually come into play finally for this team, because there was no play design. There was no method behind the madness. They weren't setting people up from one series to another, from one down to another. This dude, this maniac, that's how he thinks. He's a cerebral guy. So he's going to get them thinking. He's going to get linebackers and corners out of place and linemen out of place, because he's going to do things to make it easier for his players, which is usually what great coaches do. Coaches are the ones that design stuff to make it a little easier for the player so they can go out there and have some success.
Yeah, I remember last year, man, when I knew for a fact that this team didn't even know what its identity was. At first, I thought maybe they know what they're trying to do, but they're just not able to do it. But when I knew that this team didn't even know what it's trying to do was after, I think it was the Tennessee game, and Tua told us, what we try to do, we try to establish the run. It's like, nah, bro, you guys are not on the same page. Like, this is what happens when you have 4 offensive coordinators. Like, you are not, there's no way you're trying to establish the run. There's no way. You cannot convince me that the worst running team in the NFL identifies as a run-first team. There's no, absolutely not. So I think, this year, maybe they will try to establish the run. Like, maybe I think they've got the horses to do it. They got the guys to do it. Maybe with a little better offensive line development and scheme, and blocking scheme, we're going to see a different Dolphins offense. But again, like it's on paper, it's a lot more exciting than it has been in the past 2 years. Now it's time for the play calling genius to earn that little $30 million contract and, earn all that Twitter goodwill and grassroots effort on social media that he's been doing over the past couple months, because he's a very likable guy. Very likable. Man, we're sitting in that room on Saturday night, and it was like an old buddy cop TV show between him and Greer, talking about, yeah, this guy's crushing sushi. Oh, yeah, this guy drinks more cherry Pepsi than I can imagine. In-N-Out's overrated. What are we saying? It was the loosest I have ever seen a GM and coach press conference.
Because that the Patriot way is out the effing door, bro. That's why, because you had a sourpuss there that just didn't, it's like the guy never wanted to have any kind of fun, never loosen up a little bit. And
this is Miami, man.
You're covering, you get to cover human beings, Marcel. Good for you.
Why would you? This is Miami, man. Like, how are you going to recruit guys to Miami and say, all right, come to Paradise and play disciplinarian football? Oh, like, come to Paradise. Come on over to South Florida. Relax. You got a coach that's going to let you be yourself. He knows what he's talking about. He wants to do the best for you, but you're not going to be out here with the whip cracking over your head. Like, I think it's a lot looser, and it meshes with the overall vibe of what South Florida is about. So, like, either way, he's bought a lot of goodwill in the offseason. He's still got to earn it on the field, but he's got the pieces to do so.
2 words for you, young man. Miami Heat. You can have discipline. You can do the Harlem Shake, and you can still win a championship. You know what I'm saying? You can Jimmy Butler pump, and you can still win. You know what I'm saying? The Miami Heat do it with discipline, because they put you on a scale every day to weigh you, to make sure where your body fat is. Okay, so the Miami Heat does it with discipline, but they also do it with fun too at the same time, because they allow you to have fun after you've worked your ass off and put yourself. The problem with Flo was there was never any fun involved in it. You know what I'm saying?
Whereas that's what I'm saying. The Dolphins weren't Harlem shaking. Already this offseason, those little videos, I think the Jets like to do it a lot. The Bills used to do them, where you film players running off the practice field, and then there's a little sign that says, who's the funniest player on the team? Which player would you not want to date your sister? We're already seeing fun content out of Miami. They just did that a couple of days ago. I didn't see none of that last year.
Of course not.
Granted, it's not funny when you're losing 7 in a row. Like, I don't think anybody cares who the funniest guy on the team is. But
right, of course.
It's a different regime. It's a different feel. It is clearly a different feel. Devil's advocate, I'm not 100% sure that 100% of the guys are on board with it yet. Maybe they're just not comfortable with
winning.
Winning is good. I think I've said that on the show before. You can do whatever you want as long as it does not impact the work. As long as the work and the production is not impacted, you can act whatever you want to off the field. As long as they know they're on the field, you're going to bring it, the criticism is going to go by.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, what are you working on over at ESPN so folks can check you out?
Man, I'm F1 reporter Marcel Louis-Jacques at this point, so preparing for the biggest weekend in Miami. I wish I could throw on a couple more hats. I know we got the Heat and Panthers playoffs starting.
Break it down for me. What chances does Michael Schumacher have of winning the F1?
So what I know about F1 is that the cars go fast. It's not exactly a circle. It's not like NASCAR. There's a couple other turns. You gotta propagate your speed and whatnot. But I'm more boots on the ground than actual F1 reporting, man. I want to talk about how this race got here, what's setting it apart. From what I'm hearing, I've had a couple conversations with people who have brought this race to town. It is going to be more like Disney World than an F1 race. What they want is they don't want you to sit in your seats and then just say, okay, this is my view of the race. This is my view from the stands. I stay here all the time. They want you to go to this zone and this shopping center and this interactive area. It's going to be like the Miami Open on steroids, how there's so many places for you to go and so many restaurants and booths for you to try. So it's going to be a great time. I'm excited for the atmosphere. It's going to be a lot of people in town. So that is my deal for the next week. And then I put my Dolphins hat right back on next week.
So you can't tell me if Michael Schumacher is going to win.
I'm going to say Lewis Hamilton or Danny Ricciardo.
By the way, Schumacher's retired. He's no longer an F1. I just wanted to Lewis Hamilton. I just wanted to F1 you. That's all I wanted to do.
Hey, I watched 3 episodes of Drive to Survive. I will get there when I get there. But like I said, I'm boots on the ground for now.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ. And, of course, order it delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste Edge energy drink. And get 10% off with my code Big O at myedgedrink.com. The best energy drink on the planet. Marcel, thank you. We'll catch up later in the week.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. See you Thursday.
You got it. Be good. There you go. It's Marcel Louis-Jacques.